Hello, welcome back to Baking with Ginny and Joe. I am Ginny and today I'm going to show you how to put this rolled buttercream that we made onto a cake. Let's roll some out. Don't worry about it being crumbly. That's just how the texture of this is. So, marble, how are we going to do that? We're going to take this and we're going to do it very similar to fondant. That roll. Look, the minute the outside of this is touched, look how smooth it becomes. Absolutely gorgeous there. So that's that piece. In fact, let's put that piece there where you're not going to see. And then we are going to colour this one. So I'm going to use our colours, and this is our candy colour range. It's blueberry pie. Pop some of that in there. Right. Oh look! Mess, mess, mess. So I'm just going to keep kneading this until it's come all the way through. There we go. Look how that's come through there. Absolutely gorgeous. If you want it darker, you can just darken it up a little bit. But I have got the white in this as well, so that's reduced the colour slightly. Right, let's roll. Push them together and they squeeze together really nicely. And we're gonna roll. Once it's together, fold, push it together, fold, push it together. And we're gonna roll this again. Now when you actually come back on itself and twist, it will start to split a little bit. So if you hold it together, roll and squeeze. So roll, squeeze, and again here, roll and squeeze. So as it cracks, you're pushing it all back in together, and you'll learn to do this on the cake. This can crack, but the minute that you squeeze, it just goes back into itself. Okay, right. Do you know, I'm actually quite happy with that. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. I've got my cake, ta-da! I have ganache underneath it, buttercream is fine, it's just, I wanted something that I was able to prepare about 2 hours ago and it go hard. So I used a butter ganache, and again, that's got the same colouring in it. Right, if you were to just take this like fondant, put it across the top, it's gonna split and you're just gonna keep sticking it back together with your hands. It's gonna be a lot more difficult. So you can either use some parchment paper, but I would actually really recommend using this roll. So I bought this on Amazon. It'll be on our Amazon shop there. I'll pop the link in underneath. It's just a cake collar. So what I've done there, so I've taken my cake collar, I put it around the cake and put it so that it would fit. So you can see this has got a bit coming up the top, and then I've got some playing room around there. Let's remove the cake. I'm going to go with the roll because that's going to help us as we put that round. If I was to do it the other way around, you're fighting against itself. So I'm going to take some of this. Rolling pins work, not as great. So I'm going to put some on. As I'm pushing this in, like this, it becomes so smooth. If I do use the rolling pin, you can only go over a couple of times and then it will start dragging. Don't go too thin. So we're trying to keep it around about the same. Take a bit more. Give it a squish out with my fingers. A bit there, and on there. There we go. Push it in. And then give that a roll, and immediately it blends straight in. See, I've just got a little bit of pullage just here. You have to be really careful. We're going to go all the way through to fill this up. And you want to try and get it as even as you can with thickness, otherwise your cake's going to do this. There we go. If it drags, straight in with your hand, smooths it right off. What I'm going to do now is just take off some of this. See, when you lift it, if it's thick enough, it will lift, but it can do that falling apart thing, so be careful. So I'm just going to reuse this part. Don't want to go right up to the edge on this one. That's why I've just gone that inch hanging over, because this is going to allow me to secure it over. Right, happy with my thickness. Find my line and freehand as best I can. And again down the side and across the bottom. Okay, before I bring the cake over, we have got about an inch on the top of that cake collar where we know we've got excess buttercream when I measured it up against the side. So what we don't want is this, because the structure's not like fondant and it's not as stable. What we don't want is it to flop over the top. So I am going to take around about an inch-ish off the top. We don't want it to be short, but we just don't want that huge excess flopping over the top because it could cause it to split. So let's just take that away. really easily. Okay, let's roll this over to one side. I'm bringing the cake in without the cake board at this minute, just because it's easier for me to see. Right, this is sticky and you think it would stick, but we might need something extra. So I've just got some water and a brush, and I'm just going to go around the outside here and lightly wet the side down so that buttercream's got something really good to stick to, because it does like to drag. So even if you think it's sticky enough, it's not. Right then, here we go. Now, I'm doing this back to front for you, so let's just keep our fingers crossed. So I'm lining it up, take the smaller section and come around and smooth. Then, with the other hand, towards the bottom. Don't worry if it cuts through, you're better with that than what you are it not meeting at all, because we can get rid of that across the bottom. Right, this looks really fiddly. Don't worry, if there is any issue, you can just stick this back together. It's that clever. Let me lift this part, lift this back, just so that I can access this one. And then push this back down across the top. Let's take that seam together and then peel this one. And now we know we've got these two locked in. We're on. We're in a cake, we're on. When we pull this off, it's going to start to pull and it'll come out at the top. Don't worry. We're just going to use our hands to guide and stick as we come around. Keep sticking across that top part as it comes around. It might get more and more as you're bundling it up. Just keep sticking. And let's pop this up on there. Right, so we've got this top part, and you see what I mean? When I move it in like this, you can see that it starts to crack along here. This seam, which you would have an issue with fondant, dabbing that, just like that. Right, icing sugar time. Put ice and sugar down. So I've used ice and sugar because that's our predominant ingredient. And then, don't push hard. We're lightly going up. Use that ice and sugar. It will just disappear. You'll drink it. Looks gorgeous already. And up that seam. Don't want to go pushing really hard, because what we don't want is it to be thicker and thinner in certain parts. So I'm just moving it across, just so that it all joins in. Same as what you would have with fondant. If you get an air pocket, that's fine. Just use a pin. Right, see where I've got drag marks? Buff everything out with your hand. This is why I'm wearing gloves, because it's gentler than the bare skin. You've got oils on your skin. So look how simple that was there. So now we're just going to come across this top part and we're going to drag this off. Just coming in with the palette knife and just let that come away. And there we go. Again, pick it up, give it a dab, and it'll just pick all the bits up. Excellent. So you can already see that you've got that near sharp edge already. So the bottom I'm not concerned about for the moment. We'll get to that in a minute. We're now going to put its lid on the top. Move that to one side. And then we're going to bring in our parchment. Now this parchment, I know, fits on the top of that cake. Try not to mix this up too much because you'll lose that marbling. We don't want this to be too thick. So initially use your hands as much as you can just to move it out. Then we're going to grab the rolling pin and bring it out towards the sides. Always making sure that you've got something to be able to lift this with, because the structure is not the same as fondant. It will, if you tried to pick this up now, it wouldn't be right. It would just fall apart. In it comes. Then we're going to take this, pop it on the top. There we go. And now we're going to use a disc and we're going to tip. Okay, sorry, had to clean. Don't like things dirty. So we're going to take this off. So I use a spatula just to lift the cake. Okay, and then we are going to spin it over. There we go. Back on here. Right, and then we're just going to take the palette knife and just cut all the way around there. And don't worry about the look of the side of it. This is going to blend in so easily. Okay, next I'm going to do the very same thing here. And coming around, you could have done this the other way. I just tend to do it upside down. I'm going to let all that fall. Right, let's move all this. So now we're just going to get some more of the icing sugar, rub it between my hands, and then just go around the outside of the cake. And then I do find that these scrapers are less sticky than what the fondant ones are. Now I've got a large bulge just here, so for that I'm just going to bring my scraper down. Very carefully, you don't go right into the cake. And then we are just going to use our hands just to buff that back through again. Icing sugar on, and let's give this cake a buff. Again, not too heavy, right in there at the top. The beauty of these is it will just take off that excess as well. You can see as this comes round how smooth that is becoming. Do you have one piece here that doesn't want to come together, so again, just use your hands, smooth it through any cracks, touch them round with your hand, and it will just disappear straight away. Right, in through the bottom here. Let's get our sharp edge. Cut off any parts that you feel isn't right. Imagine no more elephant skin. Amazing. Who wouldn't want that? Right, we are going to tip this back up and have a little look and see what we've done. Using my finger, I'm just coming around that bottom. Just want to make sure that that join is all together there really nicely. Right, let's tip again. We're going to flip again. Over it goes. Pop it down. Remove the plate. Look at the top of that. And there we go. I'm so happy with that. It's stunning. Okay, so it's the next day. Put it in the fridge and I ended up doing other things. So I thought I would just show you what it's like. It's come out of the fridge and how it is settled, and it is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. I mean, you can touch the sides, you can pick it up. It's gone as hard as like fondant would do. It's crusted over beautifully. It's really, really nice. Now, I have an idea in my head for this one. If you wanted to copy, this would make amazing seaside cake. So if you crumpled up some biscuit, sprinkled it around a cake board all around there, and put some shells down the side, this would make a beautiful seaside cake. This looks like the sea to me, but then that's just me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this easy. It is absolutely stunning, and I really hope to see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.